Summer can pose kind of a challenge, I think, for both parents and kids because of the lack of structure. You go from 9 months of having basically at least 5 days a week fully structured to kind of a free for all. And this can pose a problem sometimes for, you know, lack of motivation or wanting to do stuff. Parents are complaining sometimes about kids being on their phones too much or being on screens too much. And so I always tell people, give it like a 2 week little calm down space. So take a couple weeks after, the last bell rings, you get out, take a couple weeks to really allow your system to calm down, both yours and your kiddos, because it's been a whirlwind. The school year is a whirlwind, So I always tell people, give yourself a little bit of a break, a week, 2 weeks, allow your systems to calm down, and then develop kind of a plan for the summer. I like to kind of have, what do kids like to do? What do teens like to do? What are they into? Like, how can I help navigate that with my kiddo? How can I sit down with them and go over some ideas? I know one thing that I've been talking about in my practice, and I know is a hot button right now, is the overuse of social media and getting kind of locked into screens for kiddos. And I know the summer can kind of pose a challenge for that as well, because again, you're not structured 7-8 hours a day in schools. So I do think that when you are sitting down and kind of coming up with a plan for the summer, it does depend on your family. It depends on your kiddo, and developmentally it depends on the kiddo, and where they're at. So this is controversial. I'm not huge on rules, but I definitely am big on communication. I'm big on connection and treating the family as a team. So with my families that I work with, we do a lot of working around how to communicate with each other, how to best develop better communication, better regulation. And a lot of what I talk about in sessions are based on our nervous system and kind of based on regulating that nervous system. And so in the summer, that can be really challenging because, again, the structure that you're used to is no longer there. So one of the things I always stress is just connecting with your teen, your child, and outside of screens, in nature. Nature's huge. Like, if we're able to get out, take walks together, obviously people go on vacation, that's great. Swimming, being out at the swimming pools, going volunteering. I love that for some of my teens. They love to volunteer. And just being out in nature helps to regulate that nervous system. So the thing about screens is that it's a big go-to when kids are bored, when their nervous system is dysregulated. Going straight to screens is sometimes the standard. And so that's something you kind of want to work on in summer, is developing a way to build that distress tolerance. Like, it's okay to be bored. It's okay to not know what to do today, to not have an agenda today, and help them to learn how to connect with what's going on with them physically. And in order to do that, you really have to start building that communication style with each other. And again, that's very dependent on your family. Obviously, that can start at a really young age, learning how to communicate with your kiddos. But you can do it anytime. You can start any time of kind of respecting their boundaries, but also creating healthy boundaries within the family structure.